Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Get Mom Ready. Today, you have live in studio in our respective studios, Meredith and Holly, Anna and Hannah. We miss you. We are joined today by the wonderful Erica Graham. We're going to get into what are we calling this episode, Holly? The messy mom, but like in the most
Sure.
endearing way.
Yeah.
Because Erica was at our live event and it was so fun to kind of talk through. I don't know, you kind of referred to yourself as the quote messy mom, but it was so endearing and like relatable. And so I'm excited for us to get into that. But if you're listening to us, thank you. And feel free to, don't feel free. I would strongly encourage you. In fact, we'd love it if you would subscribe and like, share with your friends. We love having these conversations. And when you do those things, it allows us to continue Get Mom Ready. So thank you. And let's get right into the queen, Miss Erica Graham.
Let's do it. Thanks for being here, Erica.
This is awesome. I actually know what comment you're referring to. So I went to your live event and somebody said, I think it was actually you, Meredith. I think you said
I'm
that
a little
you
neurotic.
have a check of things to do and that like there are some days where you have to let go of the checklist and like when you get out an activity, not like clean it up right after you play with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I should clean up right after I get that activity. Like I'm gonna write that down. So what you have to let go of is like something I need to consider.
That's hysterical, which is the
Yeah.
yin and yang of different kind of parenting. So just so we can all just name it, obviously this is not a parenting podcast. We are moms kind of normalizing, if you will, the pressures of modern motherhood and celebrating, I would say, which is going to be, I think, something that we do in this particular conversation, the different types of approaches and the fact that not everything has to look one particular way for it to be, quote, right, good, sufficient, any of that.
Yes, preach.
Love that.
That's exactly it. Okay, Erica, let's start out. And I would love for you to just share your story, just in general about you, bring us up to speed on what brought you to where you are today. And then if you can weave your motherhood story, your journey to motherhood in there as well. Would love to hear it.
Oh boy. And this is where I have to discern, what do I all disclose?
Well, first of all, where you're from, because it's not Texas, not with that accent.
Yeah, I have a little bit of an accent. I'm from McFarland, Wisconsin, which is a suburb of Madison, Wisconsin.
The best people are from Wisconsin. The best.
I grew up a cheesehead. Went to University of Wisconsin, where I met my husband, Garrett, and we started dating. And his senior year, or after a senior year, he got drafted in the NFL draft to come play for the Houston Texans. So we moved to Houston, young babies. I was 22 years old.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out really kind of my new identity in a new city where I didn't know anyone. I think being a Texan wife was so fun. I got to meet other wives and there were events and there was so much structure around that. But I had my own identity in Wisconsin. I walked on to the University of Wisconsin basketball team, ended up walking off, but I played for a year. That was a huge life-changing experience playing Division I athletics as a walk-on. And I had a radio show for a while.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had on sports radio, I had a little kind of niche show where I would interview athletes about quirky things.
Like that is so you. And
I'll never forget. I interviewed Lynn Zastro, who was a great women's basketball player, about her pen collection and got all the deets.
So cool.
And I thought I wanted to be a sports broadcaster actually, until I realized I care about the quirky things about what makes somebody someone, not necessarily how many points they had and what was the best defensive strategy for winning the next game. I didn't care about that. But I did care about that pen collection she had in the locker room.
That's awesome.
So kind of floundered. I didn't know really what to do with my life when we moved here. My early 20s were really hard. I actually struggled with addiction to a prescription medication, which is a huge part of my story, is one of recovery and ultimately sobriety and 12-step programs and surrendering to a higher power. So my early 20s, from the outside looking in, looked amazing. Like if you would have looked at my social media or known me, you would have thought, man, it looks fun to be her, And I was really having this private battle that was consuming me. But I ended up, I did a master's program at Rice University. And again, this was while I was active in my addiction. So I was high functioning, but really struggling on the inside.
Yeah.
Did a master's program in liberal studies, graduated, went on to teach high school. And that's really when, in my early sobriety, I knew I could get through a school day because I had done that before. We've all know what
Mm,
it's like to be in school.
yeah.
And in so many ways, I think being a teacher and those students saved me. I think a
Mhm.
lot of times people teach at low income high schools to save the world. And I really taught because I knew that this process could save me. And it did.
That's
I
so
learned
cool.
so much from my students. It became the foundation of how I thought about politics and what it means to be a Christian and
Yeah.
what it means to value different life experiences and understand the other. And I also did my thesis on sexuality in the Bible at Rice University, or it was called my
Dang, girl.
capstone. So, left teaching and started a education nonprofit with my husband. We co-founded Project 88, which helped connect
Cool.
students to mostly college advisors, but also other leadership opportunities. And we raised almost $2 million doing that, 1.9 actually.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Yes, so that was kind of my baby too.
Yeah, of
We did
course.
that for 7 years, and that was my life. And then, the pandemic happened, ISD takeover, I became a
Mm.
mom,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you guys felt this way in motherhood, but I found that when you become a mom, you have to renegotiate your past life with your future.
Mm.
Whoa.
And
Pause.
figuring that out was not easy. Like,
Erica,
what do I
that was so beautiful. Like, did you just like make that up? Like renegotiate your current self with
Past
your
life.
past life. That was
Your
so
past.
that right there
Yeah.
is
And
so true.
And it's like, there's this, I've heard that the Greek word for, crisis is to sift,
Oh,
Mhm.
and
I've never heard that.
it's almost like the best crisis have
Yeah.
becoming a mom because it's, the thing I'm the most proud of,
Sure.
and I had to sift through what I could keep and what it had to fall through, and I had my baby during a pandemic, so the world was
Mhm.
already sifting in deciding
Yes.
what mattered and what needed to fall away.
Yes.
And, we decided to wind up Project 88 after, it was in 2021, I believe. And I was also, a part of the story I forgot to mention is we ended up going to the Broncos for a season, and I had wanted to
Okay.
go to seminary. And right down the street from our apartment was the Iliff School of Theology at Denver University. And I enrolled in seminary in Denver, and it ended up being like the perfect theological fit for me.
So
So here I had this beautiful campus, this ideal seminary right down the street from us. I enrolled at Iliff and I ended up graduating. I think it's 7 years later. I think it took me 7 years to finish
that's
seminary,
awesome.
and I've graduated from the Iliff School of Theology with a degree in a master's of theological studies. And so anyways, I preach as that's how Holly and I know each other. I teach
Yes.
here
Hey.
in Houston, and that's
And you have a podcast.
and I have a podcast called Curiously with Erica Graham.
Love
So
that.
yeah, now I'm podcasting and momming and teaching at our church, and it's been fun. But like I said,
Mm.
renegotiating and negotiating what makes sense in this season, what I can take
Yeah.
on, what needs to fall through.
Yeah.
That is such an art that I don't have an easy answer for.
No, I don't think there is one. Oh, and you also, I think we forgot to talk about Sunny. So you have two boys because we talked
2
about
boys. Yep.
so
So I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, so that was the 5-year-old. Hold on, we're in 2026. So the 5-year-old was born in
Was the
2021
pandemic baby.
and
Yep.
was the pandemic baby, obviously. Okay,
Yeah.
we're
Yep.
just doing math out loud. And it just took
Yes.
a second to get there, but I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, because the other one is just 2024. We're out of the pandemic. So you were wrapping up Project 88 and had Sunny. Is that what you said?
After having Jet and then
Jet.
the
Okay,
HISD
first baby.
takeover happened and the pandemic and yes,
Okay.
so
Okay, got it. So that was
yeah.
a lot happening in 2021
Yes.
for you.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, that's a
Yeah.
lot happening. Talk about renegotiating. Like, what were, to me, I liken it to I mean, I think renegotiating is such a beautiful word, but in many ways, I liken it to the process of grief. I don't think grief always has to be saved for the really heavy stuff. I think we're always working through some stage of grief, even if it's the negotiation phase of not eating, 10 bars of
Yes.
chocolate a night, even though you want to. You know what I mean? Like, God, I
Yeah.
can't do that. Like, it can
Yeah.
be anything. And so I think there's something to be said for naming it as a grief, even if it's a small grief, but the
Yes.
renegotiation process, right? And so I'm curious for you, what what during that process felt a little bit like a bummer to let go of? Because I don't know, it'd just be interesting. It
Yeah.
doesn't
Great
have to be a
question.
downer. I'm just, like, curious about that.
Yeah. Well, as I hear you talking, I think of this language that my friend Judy Lee always says, and that's that all change comes with loss.
Yeah,
And if
Mhm.
we don't speak to the loss as leaders, that's not being a good leader.
right.
And so even as we lead ourselves, like there is a huge loss in changing and wrapping up Project 88, especially, and I think we don't talk about this enough. We ended it when it was going well.
Yeah,
And
Yes.
sometimes I think people stay in things too long. It's like
yeah,
something has to fail in order for you to quit it, or
Mhm.
something has to be a failure in order for you to walk away. And sometimes we walk away from good things because it's still the right thing and it's the
yeah,
next right thing for our life.
yeah.
And so it was hard for me to convince myself that this made sense when we had just come off of a gala year that
Mhm.
was doing really well and we were hitting high numbers and surpassing our goals. And yet I still felt like this chapter of my
Mm,
life and like
yeah,
our mission had some completeness around it. And it just
mhm.
made sense, like in my
Yes,
bones. It was following
yes.
more of an intuition than stats. And there was
Mhm.
also a
Yes.
conversation, do we hand this off to
Mm,
another executive director and keep it going? And I know myself and I'm so obsessive. I'm like, when I hand that off, I won't be handing it off. You
right,
know?
right, right,
Like,
right,
That's
right.
hard to do.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And
yeah.
some people I've known people actually, Reverend Matthew Russell, who's at Chapelwood, he's just a brilliant founder of Project Curate, which is a nonprofit here in Houston. He's been able to really center himself in any of the mission work and relationships. And there are people that build things that can totally sustain themselves outside. But I just knew myself in the way that this was structured. And I really went into Project 88 thinking the NFL stands for not for long. My husband was no
Um,
longer in the NFL. I wanted to use that platform to do something meaningful in our
yeah,
community, and
yeah,
that mission in some way was complete. Now the
yeah,
work isn't, not because all justice work
sure.
is ongoing,
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
it was a way for us to step in to use this platform that we had
yeah,
that we knew wasn't gonna be for long,
yeah.
to do something bigger than touchdowns and first downs, and we
Mhm.
did, and we're really proud of that.
Yes,
Yeah, you
yes,
should
that's
be.
so
It's
Yeah.
awesome.
beautiful. Yeah.
Erica, what do you like? Is it through intuition or do you have certain like questions or like an internal framework that you use when you are thinking about like the negotiations? Because I think about like, yes, you decided to wind down Project 88, but then you also decided to start a podcast and you decided to go to seminary. One of the reasons why we created Get Mom Ready is because we wanted to show examples of what momming can look like by wearing different hats. And
Yeah.
so, how do you personally decide when you're ready to put a new hat on or take one off?
Mm,
I really struggle, believe it or not, with decision making. Like,
mm,
I white knuckle myself through decisions.
mm.
And I get stuck in this thought that, like, there is a right one and a perfect one that will not come with that loss, and I must find it.
Yes, I can
And
relate to
So
that.
wait, say that again. Am I just so I make sure I'm tracking. Are you saying maybe it's just my Enneagram 7 lens hearing it, but are you saying that you would like to find decisions that don't come with a loss? Is that what you were trying to
I
say?
I think when I get stuck in indecision,
Sure.
it's because I'm living in this fantasy that there is a decision that will have no
I
loss,
see. I
you
see.
know?
I see. Yes,
And
totally. I
and
know about
I
fantasy. I'm a 7.
Yeah, and so I think the art of discernment is ultimately a spiritual one. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what I believe is that
Yeah.
we have to get quiet and figure out
Mhm.
what we're called to do in this
Right.
world and
Yeah.
that it will change and it will look differently year to year and season to
Mhm.
season.
Yeah.
And that process isn't like one I can prescribe to even myself and others, but one I have to
Agreed.
surrender to and listen
That's
to
right.
and trust that other people can do the same for their lives, you know? So that's not like a
100%.
great answer for a self-help book, but, um, yeah, I think I will say I struggle with decision making because I struggle with uncertainty.
Mhm.
As you know,
And
Yeah.
it
Holly, I also, and this was uncovered through some of my addiction work, I have a OCD diagnosis, and OCD is nicknamed the doubting disease. And so
Mhm.
when OCD gets sticky, it's because you're
mm,
chasing certainty,
I
and
Yeah.
see.
all decisions come with uncertainty, you
Yeah.
know? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
talk about being a mom, bringing a
Totally.
child into this universe, like,
Yeah.
talk about
What
uncertainty.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it like to be a mom with OCD?
I think in some ways I talked to went on a podcast with Callie Werner a couple years ago, and she
Okay.
she asked me about a similar question. And I really think that it can be a superpower. Now,
Mhm.
I would not wish OCD on anyone. But if I am acting in recovery when I'm in my OCD, then my kids will grow up witnessing a mom who has a mental illness and knows how to choose
Mm,
health, help, and recovery
mhm,
while engaging with it. And
mhm,
that in
Incredible.
itself is like meta example, I think, that I can give my kids to also have permission to struggle and need help and figure it out.
yes.
Yes,
So
what
Yeah.
a gift. Yeah.
so, but I mean, there was a moment not all that long ago that I've kind of spoke publicly about where I was captured in my OCD for probably 7 days and I had trouble
Mhm.
sleeping. And for the first time in a long time, I needed some psychiatric help with that.
Sure.
So, that, it's when you're in it, it is uniquely terrible.
Yeah.
And what gives me hope being a mom is that I can use this as an opportunity. And there's this saying, you can do for your kids what you couldn't do for yourself. And
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
almost like I can choose a path of more recovery when I'm stuck in OCD for my kids in a way that I couldn't for myself. And that's
Mm.
unfortunate because
Yes.
I should be able to for myself too. I matter.
Well, yes, you for
Mhm.
sure do, but it also a couple things you've said, Erica, remind me of something that my spiritual director, who is also my therapist, said. Two things. One, going back a little bit, is that the process, whatever the process is, gets done to you, right? Like
Yeah.
can just surrender yourself to the process. The second one, hold on, it's going to come to me. Oh, well, this is recovery. God doing for you and what you can't do for yourself.
Yeah.
Like my higher power can do for me what I can't do for myself, and that is a beautiful mix of powerlessness, right? That you're teaching your
Yeah.
kids, like here's how we wrestle through powerlessness. Here's what it looks like to surrender. And here's what it looks like to ask for help practically when you're like, I'm working steps 1, 2, and 3. And also I need some actual, like tangible
Yeah.
intervention right now. And I think that's so powerful.
Yeah, and I
Mhm.
think to normalize struggle too, I think,
100%.
like, everyone does, and everyone's going to. Nobody gets out of this life without it.
Right.
It is so lonely when you're in it.
That's right.
So there's
Yes.
something about knowing
Close the door.
you're not alone. I hope that my kids can remember and recall because 'cause I'll talk through that with them.
Yes, exactly. And that's one of the things that I love the most about you, Erica, is your vulnerability and how you share your struggles. It helps normalize it for other people to where people are like, oh my gosh, I'm going through the same thing, or I've been there. And
Mm-hmm.
Erica just shared that. I was scared to share it for whatever reason, whether we're
Mm-hmm.
scared to look weak or we're scared to ask for help or, whatever it might
Yeah.
be. And it is just such a gift for you to be able to lead with vulnerability to say, this is normal. We all struggle with things. And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
here's what I've struggled with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Speaking
that,
of
yeah.
struggling with being messy though and organization,
Yeah.
I have this dream that someday I'm not gonna be this way. Like, it's all
Mm,
how diet culture is like, "Oh, today is the day where I finally, like, don't" like if you go on some kind of really restrictive diet, like, you're gonna fail eventually. That's kind of
yeah.
Sure,
how
sure.
I used to approach cleaning. It's like I'd, like,
Mm-hmm.
clean my house and it'd be clean and be like, "I'm gonna keep it this way. This is the new me." And then,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
like, day 5, I'm back to how I always was. Diet culture way of thinking, and I've kinda given up, like, "Okay, I might not ever be a really organized person." But
Yeah.
Mhm.
one funny thing about accepting help is I have a podcast and I sit in my pantry. And there was
Mhm.
one day where like the view of my pantry was like more visible. Like, I don't know, maybe I was sitting over here or something. And there was like boxes and all these things in the back and toilet paper. And I had several people, one of my really best friends, Amanda Weeks, reached out to me and she was like, "Girl, you have a legit podcast. You cannot have a background that looks like that. It is not acceptable." And then someone else DM'd me that same day and was like, "Hey, I know of a great organizer. She'd love to help you." And so then I'm getting a DM from this organizer who's like, "I can come organize your pantry." Her name was Jessica. And I just said yes. I was like,
Yeah.
"Come on over." Or look
Yeah.
at yes. And so Jessica came over for 2 days, organized our pantry. It has been life-changing. Like, I
I was
can
about to say,
find
Erica, it looks
things.
amazing. And you've kept it up though.
Yes, I have. Look at me. But she did it for free. She, like, would not accept payment. She's like, "I just like helping moms, and I like organizing for her, like, gives her a stress relief that it does not for me."
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, so I just had a stranger who is now a friend come over to my house for 2 days and organize my pantry. By the way, she works out at 5 a.m. and has 4 kids and, like, works. And I'm, like,
Oh my
in my
gosh.
and I'm, like, in my
Mm-mm.
house, and she's, like, organizing my pantry, like, pretending like I'm really busy.
I
Like,
totally am. I'm absolutely as busy as you.
today, I'll be in my office all day.
Okay, but can I point something out that I think is really, it just, I feel like it cannot be understated enough. And I don't even know how to put the words to it to convey like the power that I feel about what you just said in my bones. So let me just kind of see where this goes. And that is this: the power of you not being threatened and not taking it personally. Like if an organizer DM'd
Mhm.
me and was like, "Hey, let me organize those books behind you because you are on a podcast and like I'd love to come help." I'd be like, "Are you?" You know, I would be all up in my
Like
feels,
defensive.
and I would be
Yeah.
so defensive. And I mean, my husband recently pointed out to me that one of my character defects is taking things personally, and I was like, "Oh my god, really?" He's like, "Is this new information to you?" And I'm like, "It is." So I say all that to say, like, and I'm pretty self-aware, but that I was like, "Oh boy, this is not great." My point is, what a gift you gave yourself to be like, "Oh, yeah, sure, great." Like, I love like the idea that like we get by with little help from our friends, and your friend, what did you say her name was when she was like, "Girl, we cannot have toilet paper."
Amanda.
Amanda.
She's, like,
Shout out
called me.
Amanda.
She's like,
Like
"Erica, no."
that is a dear friend. Like that kind
Yeah,
of stuff. I'm like, I'm so here for it. Like that's like the sassy best friend in your favorite Romeo's novel or
yeah.
rom-com. You're like, we
She
love
called me,
you.
she's like, "Erica
Go
Graham, no."
Amanda.
That's
Yes,
what
Yeah.
she
I love
said,
her
"Erica
so
Graham,
much.
no."
Yeah, yeah. And you're like, I love
I
it. But
do.
then for the organizer piece, for you to just be like, oh my gosh, yeah, come on. I just think like what a testament to just not taking yourself too seriously. And I think that honestly, I don't know. I have never really named this, so this is kind of an interesting trailhead of conversation. But part of what I think we're maybe up against as moms, women in 2026, I don't know,
Yeah.
is the pressure maybe to take ourselves a little too seriously. I don't think that's
Mhm.
been named, and I don't think that that's like, yeah, I don't think I don't think it's being named, but I do
Yeah.
think that there's something to that that I think you just said, screw it, let's just, yeah,
Yeah.
come on over to my house. I don't know. There was something really powerful about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in other areas of my life, I feel like I do struggle taking myself seriously. Like when there's like a big political upheaval or event, like my husband has this joke, I don't have to release my State of the Union because I'm always like, what am I going to say? What am I going to say?
Yeah,
Figuring out, fact checking what's going
sure.
on. Or like, yeah, I think there's this quote I read in Denver actually. It was like written on a wall and it was, I don't remember who said it. Maybe we can put it in the show notes, but it was, um, take the world seriously, but yourself lightly.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
And
That's
it's
really
like
good.
kinda like, I don't know, it kind of right sizes your
yes,
ego, you know?
yes, yes.
But
Yes.
I think probably 15 years ago, if someone wanted to organize my pantry, I would have had hurt feelings. And I would
Sure.
have, like, spiraled and been like, "Oh my god, why can't I get it together?" And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, I've
Mm-hmm.
just lived with myself long enough to know I haven't yet." You know?
100%.
Yeah.
But you also are you're so self-aware, Erica, because you've done so much work on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is another thing that I think I know I admire about you, and I think a lot of people do. It's like I would love because like I have a lot of conversations with moms right now where it's like, okay, and I know I felt this way in my 9 months, I guess, that I worked in corporate after I had Iris, where it's like I'm used to being the high achiever in every area of my life, like with, work or like school or, you know, whatever it is. Like I'm the one that people come to like figure it out. And then you add this massive responsibility into your life where your priorities naturally shift. You're renegotiating all of those things.
Yeah.
And for myself and a lot of the moms that I talk to, it's like there's this freak out moment where the anxiety spikes because it's like, and I think it's reminding me of what you said earlier about certainty, right? It's like now this looks uncertain. I feel like I'm not performing how I was
Interesting.
previously, or I feel like I'm not able to make decisions as clearly as I used to, or whatever it might be, where it kind of freaks us out. Um, so wait, hold on. What was my question?
Well, just that there's a steep, well, let's just name it while you gather that thought, that
Okay.
there is all of a sudden for high capacity, high achieving women who have done X thing for their professional careers and they've been in X relationship, like they've gotten enough reps in every other area of their life that they're cooking with gas, and then all of a sudden you add a baby to it and the learning curve is so steep, and it's like, wait, I'm not really
Yes.
used to being brand new at something, and the stakes are incredibly high, and also there's like a ton of like out of body, like I couldn't like the hormones in the depth of love. You're like, I don't, how am I supposed to be in my body anymore? I can't combust because of the love, you know? And so that just changes everything. There's such a new level of intensity that like no deadline in hell could give you that level of intensity of feeling in a good way for this new thing that also came with a giant learning curve. And it is a humbling experience in the best way, but I do think it can kind of rock people. I don't know. I just think I don't know.
You nailed it. You said that
I didn't land the
yeah.
plane very well, but a little bit of a bumpy landing, but you know what I'm saying?
It was way smoother than my bumpiness where I'm like, wait,
Well,
what?
also, Holly, what I kind of heard you
Yeah.
saying is that how do you resist comparing yourself to past versions of yourself? Right? Like,
Yes.
supposed to be able to do all this
Yes.
in a
Yeah.
day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now I can only do this, you
Mhm.
know?
That's right.
Mhm. Yeah. So, like, and I think what sparked it for me was you said 15 years ago, I probably would have gotten defensive about someone wanting to clean my pantry. But now I'm like, yes, thank you. So, like, how
Yeah.
did you get there? Like, for those of us, and I'll like raise my hand to say, I want to feel like I have it all together and I'm, yeah, just like organized and whatever. And it can be hard for me to accept help. How do you feel like
Yeah.
you got there over the last, 15 years or whatever it's been?
Yeah. I think in 12-step work, my sponsor will say to me, and this is a common phrase in program, bondage of self. So like when you're constantly thinking about yourself and evaluating yourself and kind of navel gazing all day, or
Yeah.
even in like self-destruction, like you're bonded to yourself.
Mm.
And my sponsor will even say, like, I don't get to be special. Like, I don't get to be good. I don't get to be good at everything because nobody
Mhm.
does. I want
Mhm.
to, you know? So, like,
Yes.
kind of allows me to just let some things go, like, "Oh, yeah, I really struggle with that. That's not one of my strengths." In fact, I really every day struggle with organization.
Yeah.
As we were talking at the beginning of the podcast, it's called Get Mom Ready. We were talking about getting ready. I love getting ready. I love
Same.
doing hair. I love makeup. I love girly girl stuff.
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
so it's
And
funny,
I
like
hate it. Which isn't that funny? Okay, this is so funny, Erica, because I would guess, and maybe if people listen to this, like make a comment on our go to getmomready.com and make a comment on this because I would love what I think is so interesting is like I feel like you come across way more put together than I do. Like if you were just to look at like Erica and Holly, right? To be like, wow, Erica is so put together. She's got like her face of makeup, her hair looks amazing, her outfit is like curated. She must be so put together in every area of life. And I feel like you would say, hell no.
I'm like,
Like,
"Just don't come in my house."
yeah. Whereas I feel the opposite. I'm like, I hate getting ready. I'm like, I literally do the same bare minimum makeup routine every day just to get by. Like, I'm like, how many days can I go without washing my hair and put dry shampoo in again? But I am really organized in almost every other area of my life. And so anyway,
Yeah.
I just love that juxtaposition of like,
Yeah.
we're all
I
so different.
Yeah, and, even what's interesting is in my work life, and I would say with, Project 88 too, we had and I forgot to say this before, the reason we raised $1.9 million was not I, Magic, or my husband. We had an amazing, generous board of directors who
Mm.
also supported us in starting it and launching it and winding it down. So they get all the credit for the
Mm.
money we raised. But one thing I think about when it comes to organization is I could run a board meeting. I could send out an agenda. I could stick to a budget. I could know where our numbers were. I also had a great accountant. I had, a treasurer. I had a note taker and people that were really good in areas I wasn't to
Yeah.
keep me
Yeah.
accountable. But I could organize my work life. And even I can
Yes.
organize a sermon in a way I can't my home life. Like
True.
I don't know what's important. I'll start cleaning something and then I'll think of something and then I'll go upstairs to put a towel away, but I'll find this old album from high school and then I'm going through an album and then it reminds me to text this person and then I should go like my brain is like a squirrel.
Mm.
But or not like a squirrel, but you know that like ADHD thing, same.
Yes,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
squirrel.
100%.
You know
100%.
what I meant. I love that you knew what I
Yes.
meant.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, because I
Yeah.
feel yes, I feel so
Yeah.
similarly. Yeah.
So I struggle with like executive functioning when it comes to just daily, boring, mundane tasks. And I'm sure I have some
Yes.
ADHD, and like knowing when trash day is way harder for me than writing a thesis.
Yes, that's
Mm.
so fascinating. Yeah, because 'cause you've written
Interesting.
2 theses?
Yeah, like I like school
Uh,
school is easier for me than like some street smarts, you know?
yeah. No, that's so
But
interesting.
Erica,
I
I
love
kind
it.
of hear a freedom in your tone. And I mean, this is the second
Mhm.
time I met you, so I could be off here, but I hear a freedom in your tone of like, not really assigning value or meaning to it. It's like, yeah, not my strength. Next, like in a way
Yes.
that is so liberating and that I think other women, moms or not, everywhere need to hear of like, yeah, you don't have to be good at everything. And because I think what the other thing that I was hearing you say is like, yeah, day-to-day life or organizationally or whatever, not my sweet spot. LOL, I'll be up in the with the high school album. But I don't hear you grit by like, I know I gotta get better at it. I know I've really got to get better organized. I know. I'm like, mm-mm. She's like, yeah, not my strength. Next. How
Yes.
amazing. How
It's
amazing.
so inspiring and liberating.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's important for women to see, oh, not everything is a cause or a need for improvement.
Yeah.
And to your
Yes.
sponsor's point, like I don't get to be special. It's not just you don't get to be special. You literally don't have to think that you need to excel at every single thing in your life. You just
Yeah.
don't. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually my therapist says a perfect mom would not be a good mom because they're perfect. You know,
Mm.
Yeah.
if imagine if you had a perfect mom, how would you ever like, you'd be comparing yourself, you'd be falling short, you'd be like, "Oh, why
Sure.
can't I be like her? She doesn't have
Yeah.
any flaws," you
Yeah.
know? So it's like your imperfections are also gifts
Yes.
to motherhood. But
So
yeah, I
true.
100%.
will say yesterday was hard. There it was we had Monday off, coming off a Holy Week, and there was a baseball camp my son wanted to do and I wanted him to do. And I was gonna sign up and just forgot. And then I saw on Instagram, oh, all these kids were at baseball camp and I didn't remember. And so when it impacts my kids, like my
Sure.
unorganizedness, I'm like, oh, bummer. But then I'll
Yeah.
tell myself, like, you know what? Maybe he would have gotten hit in the head.
Mhm.
Maybe, like we did have kind of a sweet morning at home with our family, and that was special. And he got to go to
Yeah.
the golf course actually with daddy for a little while. Like we got
Yeah.
to do things we wouldn't have. So it's like you can't that sometimes we don't even know like the shame spirals don't work.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Yeah.
as a former addict, I tried those.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like every addict gets there through shame.
Ah, so
Yeah.
good. Okay,
Totally.
I wanna
That's a good word.
talk about curiosity because so your podcast is called Curiously, and I feel like even just, following you on Instagram and the posts that you like your mom posts of, like, showing your kids and, like, there's at least a daily post with, like, a lizard or a frog, you know? Because I
Yes.
just feel like I see you infusing curiosity into, like, your day-to-day with your kids, so I wanna hear, like, where did this interest or curiosity about curiosity come from? And is it something that you're like intentionally trying to bring into your journey of motherhood or is it like, oh yeah, that's I guess that is just something that I do naturally?
Yeah. I think I've always been like a curious person, especially relationally. When I meet someone, I like want to know everything about them for whatever reason, you know?
Mhm.
But I think with the world more, it's come actually later in life. I would say kind of like my mid 20s is when I became more highly curious about the world and the
Mhm.
universe and the stars and the planets and just little things because I was somebody who school was actually hard. Learning was hard. I always did really well, but I had to study my butt off, and I felt
Which
like
is
had to
it's
work.
crazy because you have 2 master's degrees.
No, like school, like, and I've somehow figured out how to get through without reading a lot. I probably have some kind of dyslexia that in the 90s wasn't diagnosed as much. But I think once the pressure of like having to pass tests was off, I realized that I actually want to learn everything that I passed the test for, but didn't retain any of that knowledge because I
Yes.
was so anxious
Yes.
about getting a good grade. And now I
Yeah.
like find it really interesting. Like, oh, I wish I would have retained some of that because it's
Totally.
interesting. So, yeah, we just got a scorpion actually. My son is probably catches 6 to 8 lizards a day, and they're usually on his body somewhere. Lots of nighttime toads. He's just amazing at it, truly.
Oh, yeah,
And,
and then, Erica, you shared in one of your sermons a few weeks ago that you had one that bit you in the butt because it was in your pants. That's
I
hysterical.
should I tell that story?
Yes,
Is
you
it
need to
on that
tell that
rabbit hole?
story.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Jet was showing me a lizard, and it was, like it was beautiful. It's, like, was a lizard that changes colors, depending where it is, and we were, like, admiring this lizard in his hand, and it jumped out of his hand, and Jet's, like, on the ground trying to trap it under his hands in the grass, and it keeps moving, and all of a sudden, we can't see it anywhere, and we're like, "Where'd he go?" We just counted it as a loss. He catches lots of lizards every day. So I go inside, I'm making a PB&J sandwich, and I had on like big wide-legged Athleta gym pants on. Like, I don't know if you've seen those like kind of wide-legged track pants. So I had those on, and all of a sudden, I kid you not, I feel something crawl in my butt. I'm not, and I knew like instantly what it was. I was like, that lizard crawled up my pants. That's because it literally disappeared, from
I
the
see it
ground.
with this. I'm
So
clenched.
I start screaming, crying. My husband was home in the living room. He's like, "What? What? What?" And I'm like, "There's a lizard in my butt." And I'm crying, and I take off my pants. I throw them. I was wearing like a long dress, or no, I was wearing a longer shirt. So I pull my shirt down. My pants are on the floor, and we see the lizard in my pants, just like looking at us. Yeah. So that happened.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I can't.
I
And
know.
I am a boy mom, and
I
I'm
was
like,
about to
I
say,
don't need you
Meredith,
to be
get
no.
ready.
Do you see me doing this?
It actually didn't bite
My
my butt,
body was
but it was
I don't want a
hung
lizard in
in
my
there.
pants, whether it's gonna bite me or not. I'm good. I'm good. No, thank you.
But
I
I will
literally was doing
say,
this.
so my son really wanted a scorpion. We went to an exotic pet store. We now own an
Don't let that
emperor
bite you in the
scorpion.
butt.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah,
please.
we have
Yeah.
it has like childproof locks on it.
Good.
It's like impossible to get into because it's a
Good.
scorpion and I have 2 little.
Yeah.
But I have found, speaking of curiosity, that like I thought we'd maybe keep it for a couple months and that like Jet would be obsessed with it. But I'm the one who like goes in there in the middle of the night to see if it's hunting. And like if you shine a black light on it, it lights up neon green. So I'll go see where it is, if it's by its heating pad, which we installed. And scorpions are 350 million years old, I think. They're older than
Oh.
dinosaurs. They existed before trees even. Like, and speaking of change, y'all, the amount of
I've seen it.
adaptation they had to do to survive. It's
Oh, no
inspiring. Like,
kidding.
I think from a change standpoint, I'm like, all your
Yes.
species has been through, and not
Yeah.
just been through, but survived through.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
that's
amount
fair.
of changes you've had to make for that to happen. That's
That's
like an
Yes.
inspiration story.
crazy.
You know?
That is
Honestly,
crazy.
the title maybe of this should be Respect for the Scorpion.
Yeah.
That's the episode title.
What can we as moms learn from scorpions? So much.
Yeah, I mean, I
Actually, a
don't know that
lot.
we'll keep it. They live really long. And my dad keeps saying, he's like, "Erica, what's the upside of having a scorpion at your house?" I'm like, "I don't know, Dad. I know. It's
Mhm.
the downside is pretty big if there were a tragedy to happen. I get it.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh. That's
Joy. It's bringing you
so
joy.
funny.
for right now, yeah.
What's the
For right
that
now.
is so
So
funny.
good.
Okay, so yeah, the curiosity thing, it just mid-20s. Yeah, the release of like I don't have to answer this on a test and I can just like it sounds like you just rediscovered the actual joy of learning in its
Yeah.
purest form.
Yeah. And I know they say,
cool.
I mean, many people have said this, but that the opposite of faith isn't certainty, like, or
Mhm.
wait, I'm saying that wrong.
No, I know what you're
Um,
talking about. It's
Um,
a C.S. Lewis quote, I thought.
yeah, it's been like attributed to all kinds of people, but I think I
I'll
used
Google
to
it.
like, like the opposite of doubt is not faith, it's certainty. That's
That's
what I
right.
meant to say.
Oh, here
Yeah.
we go. Okay. Anne Lamont, who Meredith
Oh,
loves,
Love
right?
her. My
Is
favorite.
this what you're talking about, Erica? The opposite of faith is not doubt, but certainty.
Yes. Yeah.
Certainty is missing the point entirely. Faith includes noticing the mess, the emptiness and discomfort, and letting it be there until some light returns. Faith also means reaching deeply within for the sense one was born with, the sense, for example, to go for a walk. From her
Mm.
book, Plan B, Further Thoughts on Faith.
There we
One
go,
of my
Holly.
favorite.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Well, I feel like that quote, Erica, sums up kind of our whole conversation today. Like,
Yeah.
the opposite of faith is not doubt, but certainty. Certainty is missing the point entirely. Faith includes noticing the mess, the emptiness and discomfort, and letting it be there until some light returns.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if we don't have certainty, that means we have to be curious about the world, right? Like if we don't have all the answers, we got to go search,
Yeah.
and that's the fun part. I
Yeah.
know living in the questions has been also attributed to many people. That's I think where the magic happens.
Yeah.
So cool. Well,
Yeah.
Erica, where can people find you, follow you, listen to you? Tell everybody.
Yes. I have a podcast called Curiously with Erica Graham. You can get that wherever you get your podcasts. And I preach often at Ecclesia. So you can find those sermons on YouTube. And yeah, I don't have like my own website yet, which I probably should do at some point. But podcast streaming, YouTube, all the things.
It's awesome. And then on Instagram too, right?
Oh
At
yeah,
Erica.
Instagram. Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I am a millennial that uses Facebook. I know that's like
Me too.
I was gonna say, wow,
I-
that's a
I
throwback.
like Facebook still. I know.
Yeah. Wait, and Erica, you also have are you still Substacking? You were one
Oh,
of
I
the
do have a
first.
Substack. Yes.
Yeah.
I have a Substack, and that is also linked in the bio of my Instagram.
Oh, good.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes. You're
Good.
a phenomenal writer. I've been telling Erica for so long that she's got to write a book one day because,
Oh, the book deal's
Even-
coming. It's only a matter of
oh,
time.
yeah. Well, especially
for
because your
sure.
Substack, like, and I don't know if you do it on Facebook or Substack or both, but like, it's like, you're like, literally just wrote this at 2 a.m. and it's like this beautiful, like, poetry of just
I
like,
do love to write.
Mm,
oh,
I
you're
think
so
that
good
when
at
my
it.
kids are both in school, that's a goal of mine to write more because
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
writing.
Yeah.
You're so good at it. Well, Erica,
And
thank
she
you
has done
for.
2 theses.
Oh, right. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, actually, one was a capstone, so not technically like
I don't
yeah.
know the difference, but you're an academic and you love to write, so that's what I got, you know?
Yes.
You're a
Yes.
smart cookie.
Yes, exactly. Well, Erica, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for sharing your story and just your vulnerability and courage and curiosity that you brought to the conversation today. We are so
That's right.
thankful for you. And as Meredith said earlier, if you would like and subscribe, we would love to see it because that helps us continue to bring you conversations like this. And as always, you can go to getmomready.com, subscribe to get the weekly email updates with all the show notes. And if you're finding yourself in a place where you feel stuck and you're looking for a coach or guidance to help you get unstuck, our team would love to talk with you. So you can do that at getmomready.com and click on book a coaching call, and you can book a time on our calendars. Well, Erica, thank you for being with us today.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Erica.
having
It was
me.
a treat.
So fun. Thanks,
All right.
guys.